You are listening to a podcast of the Geek.io Media Network. For all of our shows and more, visit geek-io.net. And to help support the network, head over to patreon.com/geekio.
This was the worst call by far, unquote. There was a bombing attack on the London Bridge, between the London Bridge and the Barlow Markets. Bill Cosby trial ends in a mistrial. Fair Work Commission cuts Sunday and public holiday penalty rates. Pell Corby arriving back in Australia. Australia has finally become the 26th country to legalise same-sex marriage. Cyclone Debbie devastated the East Coast and is still causing havoc to this day, despite making landfall on Tuesday. So there has been an urgent recall, national product recall / withdrawal of popular children's yogurt pouches over fears kids could choke on lids. Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk announces an election for November 25th. Donald Trump becomes the 45th president of the United States of America. That's right, it is indeed our 100th episode of the Generic Live Show, and it is very good to be here. I'm gonna finish this.
Alright, have at it. I'm fucking done. I can't do it. Oh, Jesus.
Dale, you
that aftertaste is actually not that bad, actually.
He does come from Australia, so things try to kill him regularly. He's at this point immune to poison.
Especially when spiders go into my drinks.
Alright.
my clean cups.
Oh, wait.
So...
You're listening to the Generic Live Show's greatest hits of 2017. Hello everyone and welcome to the Generic Live Show's greatest hits of 2017. I'm Dale Campbell. 2017 was kind of a weird year for the Generic Live Show. We moved homes, now broadcasting at twitch.tv/geekio show. We launched a store, tinyurl.com/generic store. We celebrated our 100th episode. We dealt with nasty trolls. And me personally, I celebrated going to my first ever geek convention and podcasting live on stage. In addition to 2017 being a huge year for the Generic Live Show, the news of 2017 is kind of bizarre. And we're going to kick things off with arguably one of the biggest stories of the year, Donald Trump officially becoming president of the United States of America. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, but here's the thing. As this was a story being covered by everyone in the first 6 months of the year, we had to take a unique approach in how to tackle the news that Donald Trump was making. Here are my favourite moments of covering Donald Trump and the news that broke.
Mr. Vice President-elect, would you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Michael Richard Pence, do solemnly swear.
I, Michael Richard Pence, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
We, the citizens of America, are now joined in a great national effort to rebuild our country and restore its promise for all of our people. Together, we will determine the course of America and the world for many, many years to come. We will face challenges. We will confront hardships, but we will get the job done. Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. And we are grateful to President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama for their gracious aid throughout this transition. They have been magnificent. Thank you. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. Together, we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
When we do the Trump tracker, there are 60 promises that he outlined in his contract to the American voter, which is an oddly specific plan that will guide his administration, starting from the first day, and list 60 promises. He even signed that with his distinctive signature with those small Donald Trump's terms, thanks to the Washington Post for keeping us updated on this Trump tracker, and it's now becoming a regular segment here on the Generic Live Show. So let's get to week 2 of the Trump tracker. I don't have bumper music. Why don't I have bumper music? Well, you know what? We've got this. Oh, I know something appropriate. It's week 2 of the Trump tracker. Oh. I'm going to get so much hate mail for that. It's not even funny. Okay, so his promise, he has launched 6 of his promises, and he's kept 3 of them. 51 have not yet been started. This week alone, he has the promise to fund the construction of a wall on our southern border. Republican lawmakers signaled a willingness to fund the war with taxpayer dollars. Wah, wah. On January 25th, Trump signed an order to the Secretary of Homeland Secretary to begin planning and designing a southern border wall. But the wall requires congressional appropriation. We'll see what that says. Cancel visas. The next promise is cancel visas to foreign countries that won't take back legal immigrations, which that we'll get to next hour. That has caused some trouble. On January 25th, Trump signed an executive order that said, quote, "The Secretary of State shall, to the maximum extent permitted by law, ensure that diplomatic effects and negotiations with foreign states include condition precedent at the acceptance by those foreign states for nationals who are subject to removal from the United States." This is much less sweeping than his pledge to immediate cancel visas from those countries. There you go. He also, on January 25th, 2025 was a big day, issued an executive order that declared that sanctuary cities that refused to comply were not eligible for federal grants except those deemed necessary for law enforcement purposes. This is a much timid than Trump to cancel all federal funding. The order will not be tested in the courts. So that's why that it's been labelled as launched, but not necessarily as kept, because it hasn't. It's not all of them. Sad music, yeah. This is called 1 hour pure sadness, emotional sad music, emotional ride. Ladies and gentlemen, the Trump Tracker, provided by the Washington Post and the Generic Live Show, is going on a temporary hiatus. Oh, you've tuned in to segment 4 of the show, and now that the sad music's kicking up, I have to turn it down. You've tuned in every single week at this time to hear what Trump's been up to every single week. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Trump Tracker to be put on temporary hiatus. It's sad, I know. I'm sad to see the segment go. It's probably one of my favourite things to do. But all good things must come to a temporary halt. Said no one ever. Said Dale Campbell, 2017. February 2nd, 2017. Beyonce took to the internet to announce that she will be having twins. And, well, the inevitable happened. She broke Instagram. Beyonce and her partner Sean Carter also... I like saying it like that because it just doesn't... Yeah. They have a 5-year-old daughter called Blue Ivy. Oh, have I mentioned the post? Alright, let's look at the post. So, the post is of Beyonce. She's looking very pretty with her long brown hair. She's in what can only be described as underwear. for this PG-13 audience, this G-rated audience, she's in what appears to be undergarments. How old am I again? I'm like 512, right? Okay, so here we go. She's in what is described as undergarments. She is putting her hands on her stomach. She is in what it appears to be a cloth over her head, like a veil thing. She's behind some beautiful flowers. Am I really describing? I'm describing an Instagram photo on an audio podcast. What has my life become? This could be a favorite. This could be a new segment. What is the photo that Dale is describing? It's a pretty lady with long hair. No. So, here we go. We would like to share our love and happiness. We have been blessed 2 times over. We are incredibly grateful that our family will be growing by 2. Aww. And we'd like to thank you for all of your wishes. The Carters. It has, as of 10:28 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on the 5th of February 2017, 9,818,156 likes and 458,544. October 15th, 2017 was our vacation recap special for my most recent trip to the US of A and Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia, where I podcasted live on stage for the first time ever. Here's me reliving that experience. Performing on stage for the first time. So my aim of the game was to entertain, and it's kind of weird experience because you get yourself build up and in this mindset of kind of wondering if people will like you, I guess. That's the main kind of thing, is if people will like what you have to say and the entertainment that you'll provide. It's less nerve-wracking in a group environment if you were to go up on stage solo and perform like a stand-up routine, which, by the way, I'm not doing. I'm terrible. My comedy is awful. At least I think it is. I made like 4 people roar with laughter, but that was also me taking a bullet and drinking we tried different sodas on the stream, and on stage, and mixed them all together to create this kind of weird concoction of every soft drink / soda ever. So there was corn soda, there was licorice soda, there was red velvet soda, there was chocolate bacon soda, I believe, among others. Alien snot. There was alien snot there, and it was taking that and kind of going. The thing with on stage with me, I've learnt this last time, was kind of going, particularly in a group environment like that, was to kind of go, alright, let's find my job, actually, not my job, but the thing I have revolved to do over the years was kind of go, where's the gap? Where can I fill the gap? And kind of move around with the vibe of things and kind of fill gaps and try to be interesting at the same time. I'm not just a stopgap person, otherwise I'd be legitimately in a production booth somewhere and kind of in a tinned microphone going, and we've got caller on line 2, because that's not my job. But meanwhile, it's good to be of that mindset of kind of filling in the blanks and going, alright, where's the next opportunity to entertain? And always bouncing around. That's to my detriment and to my positive. Detriment is that I can't establish any train of thought, and B, do I really want to be known as the stopgap guy? And I think I do. I think my quote-unquote comedy is best done situationally and kind of stopgapping and kind of going, alright, let's fill in this space and let's fill in this space and all the rest of it. And doing that for the first time on stage it was nerve-wracking. but I believe it got better as the kind of, you know, I think the first joke that was cracked was kind of, you know, lightened up the room. Procy in the chat says, I live in New Zealand, it's always hot and it's unbearable. Let me tell you something. Yep. I live in Australia. I live in tropical North Queensland. It literally got to 34 degrees Celsius today. It was boiling here today. And it's not even summer yet, it's mid-October. So there you go. But that's kind of going behind, that's really unveiling the curtain. And to peel back the curtain even further, improv comedy, actually walking out of Dragon Con in general, I definitely need to improve my improv comedy skills. Improv is not my forte. Surprisingly, right? Doing a one-person show every single week. Comedy is not my forte. This is normally a news show. So, and if you watch the pre-show, you know improv comedy is not my forte, because I enjoyed that bit, but I don't think anyone else did. Meanwhile, I need to get better at being put in a situation and trying to make it as fun as I can. Not necessarily making fun of the situation, but kind of having that situation turned into something positive. Which is how I ended up on stage for another panel called Comedy Done the Geeky Way, which was basically comedy in geeky movies / TV shows, and how comedy, we actually had a deep felt conversation on that panel about where the direction of comedy is going in the geek culture, and how massive juggernauts like The Big Bang Theory, insert another big comedy show here, hour, and likes that, kind of how they will impact the future of comedy shows. We actually, and I made count them on my one hand. People laughed during that episode, and again, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on people's perception of humor, which we also talked about in that panel, is, and I think for me, you know, and actually Raul was on stage. I forgot to mention this. And Raul Garza was on that panel too, and he says that Techie Gamer. He says that was a bit rough with no prep time at all, and coming out of Dragon Con again, I need to not learn how to do comedy, but also kind of learn how to turn situations and try to entertain. I suppose I'm just literally describing improv comedy to literally everyone here. But I need to learn to get better at it. May 21st, 2017. Well, the fidget spinner definitely took the world by storm, but we did what we like to do here at the Jack Live Show and kind of dig deeper on the bigger trends. So we broke down the actual science behind the fidget spinner craze. But there is actually a purpose behind these little nifty little toys, apparently. As you can see, the fidget spinner is not exactly the most complex of inventions, although it gives a whirling sound when it spins, like a... See what I did there? There you go, there's a... And fidgeting. Excuse me, wow. Fidgeting is burping. Fidgeting is not a new human behaviour. Find someone who doesn't fidget at all, and you've probably found someone who gotten a full body Botox. Jesus. Therefore, the fidget spinner comes as a premium. $15? Wow, wowzers. Okay. Over other common fidget objects such as pens, balls, and coins probably isn't due to the massive research and development costs. Nevertheless, some of the retailers have claims that the fidget spinner has health benefits such as easing stress, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety attention defect disorder. So, how legitimate are actually those claims? Reviewing the science behind the potential benefits of fidgeting may make you fidget. Mainly because there are theories but limited concrete scientific evidence. One thought is that fidgeting may occur in parts of your brain that otherwise would distract the rest of your brain with random thoughts. Imagine that your brain is a family that needs to make an important decision. If the young children in the family aren't occupied by toys, they demand too much attention, interfering with decision making. Roland Rotz and Sarah D. Wright explains how fidgeting can prevent distractions that come from boredom in their book, Fidget to Focus, Outwit Your Boredom, Sensory Strategies for Living with ADHD. Apart from the longest book title in history and having 3 subtitles, fidgeting may prevent your mind from occurring from obscene and unhealthy thoughts such as, what is the meaning of life? What do other people think of you? Why aren't you more attractive? Why do others seem more successful on Facebook than you? And why isn't Justin Bieber returning your phone call? What is this? Shh. Welcome to the apocalypse, man. I don't know what that is. Another possibility is that the body movements are actually a part of the thinking and expression process. Try writing a long email, or giving a TED talk, or talking on a date, or singing a song while remaining perfectly still. Besides appearing creepy, such motions feel unnatural. For example, studies have shown that physical movement can, in many ways, assist with cognitive activities such as doodling and thinking and writing things down with remembering. Therefore, fidgeting could actually help you think and express yourself. Really? Wouldn't have thought. A third possibility that fidgeting serves as a ritual. Rituals can offer comforting predictability, familiarity, and structure. There you go. Scientifically American. That's a book I want to read, by the way. That's a book I really want to read, particularly these days in 2017. The fourth reason is perhaps fidgeting creates emotional attachment to an object. Strange, but probably realistic. I can see that. Emotional connections are a basic human need, which people in part can satisfy. Your favorite blanket, ball, or toy. Nope, that's not related at all. The video started playing and I don't know what it was. This does not suggest that you should date or marry your fidget spinner. I was about to say that. Before I saw that, I was about to say, you shouldn't marry your fidget spinner then. Or that object that you somehow replace people. Oh, God. But that object can help you in a pinch and is probably more willing to be spun than your significant other. Who wrote this? Did I write this? Bruce Y. Lee. You and I on the same wavelength, my friend. Finally, fidgeting may be a way of maintaining some physical activity to counteract our increasingly sensitivity lives, which may be going against nature. After all, how many wombats sit around spinning pens? Jesus. A study published in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine found that a sample of women in the United Kingdom, fidgeting seemed to be counteract the increase of risk of death associated with excessive sitting. Okay. Published in the Current Opinion in... wow. Some of these books sound like they're a riot, by the way. I just want to put that out there. I mean, who doesn't really want to read the Current Opinion on endocrinology, diabetes, Wow. Diabetes and obesity. Blech. Diabilities. A review of prospective studies that suggest that fidgeting may inversely associated with weight gain. What? Indeed, fidgeting may burn some, with emphasis on some, calories. Keep that in mind, though, that fidgeting won't replace more vigorous exercise that you need fidgeting more aggressively. Then you may not be considered fidgeting anymore. LeBron James does not fidget his way into the basketball hoop. Nice. There's a reference and a half for you. There you go. Does this make the fidget spinner a good thing? Unclear. There do not seem to be any specific scientific studies just justify that there are any specific health claims about fidget spinners, while a new way to fidget is not necessarily a bad thing. There are some concerns that a fidget spinner may be more obvious and thus distracting the way to fidget, which, ironic, much, a distraction from a distraction. The one thing to spin your pen, but it's another thing to have a mini ceiling fan in your hands. Oh yeah, that's a good thing. The fidget spinner may magnify your fidgeting to others, shouting, "Look everyone, I'm fidgeting!" God. July 30th, 2017. And for whatever reason, one of people's favourite things about the Generic Live Show is when I go completely off the rails and have a random rant about the topic of the day. This has got to be one of my quote-unquote favourites of the two this year. This one is in regards to the ban that President Donald Trump proposed about transgenders serving in the US military. Strap in, folks. It's gonna get rough. You know, it's a heavy story, and we will be covering it next hour as well on the show. But for people who only listen to the first hour of the program, I have to say this. Please do listen to the second hour of the program. It's tough. And I've got a lot of transgender people. I just had one of those moments. Sorry. I just had one of those moments where I just was just brushed with emotion. I don't know why. I just had this blanket of emotion come over me then. Of not necessarily what should I say, it's just what should I say without me literally bursting into, like, crying right now. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, if you watch the video to this, you will see me, like, have this realization where my eyes are getting cloudy for some reason, and I don't know why, but mainly because this hits very close to home, and very, very close to home. Not me personally, but family and very close friends that are transgender and are in that community, and imagining them being discriminated in this way is very harsh. And not only are the transgender people who are serving, which they are doing an amazing job, they are doing a job that I could not do to save my life or to save anyone else's life, but for them to be hurt in this way, or even because apparently it's not real and the people in the actual military arm of the office isn't carrying through, but assuming that what says goes here, so because that's what you have to do because it's Commander-in-Chief, and whether executive orders this or does whatever he does. I just said that was a really weird moment I just experienced on the air. Like, I want everyone to know that. Like, that is a really weird moment I just had. But for them to be discriminated in that way, I think hurts as well, and the people surrounding them, because family members and close friends, very good close friends, want to see their friends who are going through this battle as well they want to see them kick ass and do well as well. And I said on Twitter a couple of days ago, I said to my transgender friend and my sister, keep fighting and stay strong and keep being awesome. # we got this. And it's something that you wouldn't think in 2017, because of the year we had in 2016 with all the negativity and what have you. It's something that still needs to happen. And you couldn't believe that it's something that's been reversed, particularly this long away, and this coming, just, we came so far, and then a roadblock was put up, and it sucks that roadblocks keep getting put up for the LGBT community, and it is a shame, but we just got to keep fighting for it. And it's something, and I just had this weird out-of-body experience just then, that it's like, not necessarily, I just want to curl up into a ball and cry, but I have a show to do, and I have things, I've got a whole 2 hours of this show to still do, and it's just, I wanted to take this moment and live in this moment as well, is to say, to support my transgender friends and my sister, of course, who will probably hear this and probably go, oh, we get a shout out. But I just wanted to tell these people as well, don't give up. Don't let this be something that you should give up on as well. Just because one person says that you can't do something, and we're running through our commercial break. I don't care. I make the rules here. If I'm out of this business, what is the point? No, my point was, I'm sorry to bring this down, but I think we need to keep battling at this. And for one person saying that, oh, we're doing this because it's a business decision and we're no longer going to be hiring this type of person. Let's make this smaller. Let's make this smaller. Let's say a local produce store, right? Mum and pop, actually, no, a multinational produce store that sells bananas and apples and peaches and eggplants, for example. Just to name a few popular vegetables and fruits. But, okay, a multinational, they have lots of people, they have lots of ranges of people that work at this particular chain, right? And for some reason, the CEO of the company says, we can no longer have... I'm a little bit hesitant to say what I was about to say then. I'm like, oh, careful. We can't hire this one particular group of person. And yes, if you saw coming, I'm just going to blow this wide open. I'm just going to say race. We're no longer hiring this one race of person. And I understand, full disclaimer, race is not the same as sexuality or gender. I understand that. It's a minority group of people that live in a group of people. And that is something that there's similar nature in those sorts of characteristics. I understand that transgender people are different from, say, Aboriginal people, and say people from Central African nations that are different from people who are from other parts of the world, if that makes sense. I guess that makes sense. But I think it's so back to the analogy of this multinational chain. They are huge, right? They have lots of different stores. They have about 2,000 stores in this one nation that I am now going to be calling the Generic Live Land. Generic Live Land, or GLS for short, in GLS land, it's GLS land now. In GLS land, this multinational produce company that sells bananas, apples, and eggplants and peaches. Was it peaches? Yeah, it's peaches. Are now no longer hiring this one group of people, and they're saying, okay, these people are taking too much entitlement payoff. Okay, someone does some digging. And it turns out that no, they don't actually take. Well, they take a little bit off, but it's not. It's in proportions with everyone else. It is a little bit higher, but law of averages say that it cancels out overall. It might be higher in one location, say a rural location. In a rural location, it may be a little higher, and in metropolitan areas, it may be a little lower. Law of averages, it equals itself out, and then someone from the company goes, hey, you can't do that. Dun, 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 dun. I used to be an employee of said multinational chain, and then I got fired from that multinational chain because that's because I whistleblowed them or something. Hypothetical. This is all hypothetical. I don't put that at the top of it. This is all hypothetical. So, what is the reaction then? You can't necessarily... What is the action now? The action is for transgender people to keep fighting the good fight that they do, and that is what that is, and people can keep being awesome, and hashtag we got this, and the virality of this hashtag is actually worthy to the cause, and isn't just the cause. Because we're not talking about the hashtag we got this, we're talking actually about the topic, and the hashtag actually complements that topic. I'm off the topic. But I'm off the topic now. But in that case, you could boycott the multinational produce store and grow your own vegetables and grow your own bananas, apples, peaches, and grapefruit. What is that solution? And people would do that. People would do that over a move of a company that didn't do something that the public wanted, they would boycott. You see it in supermarkets all the time. And you see it in clothing stores all the time when people use cheap labour and they buy materials and treat their staff poorly. It's a boycott. And those boycotts happen. But what is that in this case? You can't necessarily boycott the military. You can't boycott the military. And that's again not something you can really do, and it's a tough call. Okay, yeah, that's what I mean. That's the disconnect that I'm having here. Is again, you can boycott this produce store, but you can't boycott the military. I mean, you can encourage people to go on march, and you can raise awareness about countries that allow transgender people to serve in the military, like Australia, for instance. That's fine, but that doesn't stop this from happening. And maybe it'll where it matters the most. I suppose that is definitely true, and I believe I've been informed that it has. But there's no 1-2 punch here. But do we now? The thing we face now, and I hate making this argument, but it's definitely another side of an argument that is a non-issue for me personally, but it's another side of the argument that I was thinking about when I was at work today. The other side of the argument, what is, do we now see an uptick of transgender people in the military? Because this has gotten such loud promotion. Do we now see that in the future? Do we now see an uptick of transgender people in the military? Because they will feel empowered, which as they should. They will feel empowered, they will feel able, they will meet the criteria, they'll be awesome, they'll fight not only their internal battles, which is a lot for a person to go through, they'll fight on behalf of their country, which is a brave thing to do, and they'll get accolades for it. But the person, if I hear one person say that this is again, if I hear one person say that this will now definitely drive up medical costs for transgender people and rah. My response to that will be, maybe we'll have to review the standards. Maybe we'll have to look at kind of, you have to be transitioned for a period of time beforehand. But is that discriminating people who discover themselves whilst in the military? Excuse me, I knocked my microphone. That is true. And it's a finicky topic, clearly, because we've ran way into every single commercial break of this show so far. But that's not the matter here. The matter here is we're unpacking a topic. I don't care. I've thrown the show out the window. The show's off the rails. And I knew it was going to go off the rails, and I don't know why I was convincing myself that it wasn't. But if... where was I going with that? Oh, it is a very finicky topic. It's a very, very finicky topic. And I had to get my opinion of it off my chest, because, again, oh boy, getting teary-eyed. I just had this overwhelming wash of emotion before, where I don't think I've ever had that moment on this show. I don't think I've ever had a story invoke that much emotion before, where we've taken the first half of a show to unpack it in its entirety. And I think, for now, where it stands is we kind of have to have the conversation.
June 4th, 2017, and the world was riddled with disaster, which I'm sure we're going to be talking about in greater detail next week, but I decided that it was time to deliver a very important message to the world. Like I have that influence on the world, but at least I try, right?
It's a hard time out there, and people are having a tough time, and it is a tough time for all of us out there at the moment. Just stay safe. You know, I don't know if many people are taking this message as seriously as I would like, but stay safe, and remember just where you come from. You know, it's have this kind of 2 feet on the ground at all times mentality, particularly in a turbulent time like this. And of course, we're going to be talking about what happened last week and what happened this week and all the news in between. And I'm here primarily. I'm not a professional newsreader. I'm here. I wouldn't classify myself as an entertainer either, but I'm a podcaster. I will give myself that title because that's more accurate. I put out podcasts week to week. But I'm just one lonely person, and if we all come together in this binding way, we can do this. And one thing about this show that I think gets underappreciated is that impact of me being here from 9 to 11 every Sunday is that I'm not necessarily conveying a message of hope. I'm conveying a message of, oh, hey, let's look at the world. Wasn't that great? Now we're going to move on to the week ahead kind of situation. And that's why I frame myself as the most generic live show. But behind the curtain for a second, because I think it's worth it, I think we just need to appreciate things for what they are. And many people in the world aren't doing that at the moment. So we definitely can do more of that, I think, in the world, particularly in these times, if that makes sense. You know? Love one another, basically, is what I'm saying. Love to love, you know? There's been a lot going on lately, so...
January 22nd, 2017. The world was trying to ravel with Donald Trump becoming President of the United States and local terrorism here in Australia. But instead of all of that, Generic Live Show brings you the real news of the day about the biggest garlic bread shortage this nation has ever faced.
Ladies and gentlemen, Australia was facing a garlic bread shortage. When the news broke that this week one of Australia's major garlic bread suppliers was recalling their products, there was more than a little upset. George Weston Foods recalled 11 of their garlic bread products from major supermarkets and pizza joints after bits were plastic, excuse me, that was getting loud. After bits of plastic were found in their margarine blender. Despite the threat of chomping down on plastic while enjoying the tasty bread treat, the garlic bread consumers of Australia were outraged at this unfortunate development. The products were recalled from Woolworths, IGA, Aldi, as well as Pizza Hut and Domino's, while customers compulsively bought up on all remaining garlic bread from their local supermarket. Brands were working hard to soothe carb-craving customers on social media. Most of the feedback from the great garlic bread shortage has been fear and outrage, but some commentators have been a little bit more measured with their approach, because luckily, garlic bread isn't the most difficult dish to master. But, alas, it is the most delicious dish. If the traditional baguette and garlic butter is a little bit too basic for you, why not try out a good old garlic oil topped focaccia recipe? And ladies and gentlemen, a moment of piano, because if we did silence, we'll get kicked off the air, because the silent thing would come into effect. A moment of piano for garlic bread.
November 4th, 2017, and the Generic Live Show had the honour of hosting its very own quiz show as a part of Extra Life 2017, a 24-hour gaming marathon to help raise much-needed funds for children in need. But there was one question that Dale may have needed to review before going ahead with it.
Good news, everyone! Futurama has been acquired. Yes! It's coming back. Where's its new home?
Raoul.
Carrie.
What?
Raoul.
Cartoon Network?
No.
Daryl. Netflix.
No. That's a good idea.
Carrie.
Albert.
Carrie.
Hulu?
No. I think I had Delbert in there.
Amazon Prime?
No. It's still, think more traditional.
Raoul.
Raoul.
TBS?
No.
DJ.
CJ.
FX.
No.
Oh.
Rachel.
Rachel.
AMC.
That would be a great idea, but no.
Josh.
Oh, I think Daryl got in.
HBO, there's going to be a lot more sex.
Right?
Josh got in.
BET.
Well, they do the Glenn's report.
Wait. No. Rachel knows it. I know. Rachel.
Rachel.
Oh.
Oh, no. Not on the O network. It's coming to Sniffy.
Sleepy.
What?
Yeah.
I think you mean sci-fi.
Sci-fi.
As long as it comes back, I'm good, but what?
Yeah. This is going to be... Oh, my microphone's not happy about this.
Of course, when he says sippy, I see her sniff me for some reason. I'm like, haven't heard of that one. Oh, wait, that one.
No, that one. My microphone's all freaking out. All right, stay there. Bonus question. This is going to be interesting. When will it start writing on sci-fi? Why am I out there? Ral.
Spring. 2009.
2009!
2008. Spring 2008.
2008. No. When will it start running on sci-fi? I need a date too.
Josh.
When
Trump is impeached.
No, that's incorrect. Well, yeah, that's incorrect.
It might be right.
DJ.
It might be right. I don't know why I'm throwing this out there. Saturday, November the 17th.
Of this month? Of this year?
November, yep.
What?
What? What? Where?
Pay attention to this.
Is it one in front of a live studio audience?
Yes.
I told you I nailed the F-bomb. Told you, knew it. Futurama sci-fi. And I didn't even do it ironically. You would just blew my freaking mind.
That's what my research is.
Futurama coming out.
Sticking with cartoon.
Hold on, you wait 1 second. You shut your mouth for just a moment.
My researchers have told me.
Okay, so first of all, you said coming back, insinuating new episodes.
No, that's not what I said.
You did indeed say that.
That's what
everyone inferred.
I didn't hear coming back.
Reruns.
Dang.
That's not what I said.
It is all reruns.
Hey everyone, Friends is coming back to Comedy Central.
That's not what.
To be fair, no one told him life was going to be this way.
That's not what I. That wasn't the question, CJ. That wasn't the question.
Dude, you just let everyone down. That was not even funny.
That's not the question. That wasn't the question. I didn't say new episodes.
That was the phrasing of it, however.
That wasn't the question.
Does no one do phrasing anymore?
No.
Phrasing.
February 26th, 2017. Well, sticking with the show's specials theme, we decided to celebrate the Oscars this year. We did one of our favourite segments for 2 hours. We reviewed people's reviews of Best Picture and other associated categories, TM, that were nominated for Academy Awards. And here is the 2017 Motion Picture of the Year's Review of Reviews.
Let's get into the next review of a review, which is Moonlight, is the next Oscar-nominated film that we'll be talking about right now. Alright, so the title is Outstanding Gem, Cinematic Art at its Best. It reads, this film grips you from the very beginning. It's not an easy film to watch, as it portrays the struggles many black men face growing up in marginalized neighborhoods. It's survival every day, and the main character, it becomes evident from the very beginning that his struggles will be argumented due to the difficult predicament he was born into. But the film does, have a human and universal story that everyone will be able to relate to. The message, no matter where you come from, you will always overcome your adversaries and turn things around. There will always be an opportunity waiting for you. With that said, there is the reality of the surrounding. You are a product of your environment. This film does bring this point home many times. The film had Oscar buzz. This film has had Oscar buzz and is definitely worthy of it. The performances were powerful and raw. If this film gets a chance, this could prove to be a little independent that could, because its humanity is way beyond the scope of cinematic art any studio could possibly finance. This film has a vision. You will find the filmmaker does not relent or compromise what he is willing to say. Highly recommended. Wow, that review was very hard to read. You felt like putting words in there that didn't really exist, which is kind of weird. So, and it kind of just, before you read the next word, you kind of have words ticking over in your brain. So, there you go. For that review, I give that review a 5. It's a passable review. Doesn't do anything special. Next review is called Is This a Movie? I watched this movie due to all of the... Oh, excuse me. Wow, again, wanting to put words in that aren't there. Dale, all you have to do is read today. The review reads... I watched this movie due to all the amazing reviews for it, and let me say this is the worst movie I have ever seen. I use the term lightly as it made no sense, had no storyline plot that is understandable. Wow. There is no point to this movie. Do not waste your time, believe the reviews. What? So, don't waste your time. Okay. Wow, contradiction much. So they're telling you to not waste your time and to believe the reviews that are telling you should go see this movie. I think that's a little hypocritical. That's a little something there. So do you want to dig into that? Apart from that, there is little to no punctuation in this review, and this review is also a stinker, and should also belong where you need two hands to... Yeah, okay. That's... Wow, this real. I've got my claws out. For that review, I give that review a 1. There is no point to that review. It's nearly 0 level. They could have wrote the word, they could have written a score there, and it would have been better than what they had there to begin with.
March 5th, 2017. And one of the biggest moments of 2017 was the Fair Work Ombudsman deciding to cut Sunday penalty rates for workers in retail, hospitality, and gaming and club facilities by up to 50% on Sundays and public holidays. I know we have a major international audience, so we decided to break it down into very simple English even you can understand.
Here is the changes. Now, this is all level 1 awards, by the way. Just want to put that out there. And this excludes special enterprise bargaining agreements. So for those people who work at major retail outlets, much like myself, and do part-time work for a major retail outlet, we are not affected. For those people listening, because I know I've got a few people who do work at major outlets that do that. I know that for retail. I don't know that for hospitality and pharmacy, but I am certain one thing that I would advise straight off the bat here is actually do go back, check with your employer. They need to be transparent with you as well on these changes that have happened as well. So a nice little neat table has been provided to me on explaining this. This one, for me, I'm taking this one as level 1 rates. So the hospitality award for the Sunday penalty rate on the hospitality award, employees on the hospitality award, full-time and part-time employees, from 175% of the normal wage will now be reduced to 150% of the normal wage. No change for casuals. Fast food award for level 1 employees only. Full-time and part-time employees will be reduced from 150% of the normal working wage down to 125% of the normal working wage. For casual employees on the level 1 fast food award, rates would be reduced from 175% of the normal wage down to 125%. The retail award for level 1 employees from full-time and part-time employees will be reduced from 200% of the normal wage down to 150%. For casual workers, on the level 1 retail award will be reduced from 200% down to 175% of the normal award rate. The pharmacy award for work performed between the hours of 7 and 9 p.m. only on Sunday, full-time and part-time employees will be reduced from 200% down to 150% of the normal wage. And for casual employees on the pharmacy award performing duties between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. on Sundays only will be reduced from 200% down to 175%. That's basically the summary. And of course, this did spark major protests, as one could imagine. Now, other interesting awards that didn't get mentioned in that handing is the registered and licensed clubs, or otherwise known as the Club Award, and the Restaurant Industry Award, Restaurant Award. So what's not clear in all of this, and my readings in preparing for the show here, as we do a well-informed show, I think it does include clubs and bars and restaurants as well in these cuts, from basically 25% cuts, except for if you're in retail, which is now a 50% cut if you're a full-time and part-time employee. That's the biggest cut down. If you're a full-time or part-time employee working a Saturday, you now lose 50%, well, not 50% of your wage, but 50% of the penalty rate that goes towards your wage. So there you go. And the 15-page summary kind of just is a bit all over the place, and it's of course got highfalutin language in it. Now let's get to the public holiday rates, which applies to the same awards, level 1 hospitality. If you're on the hospitality award for level 1, from full-time and part-time will be reduced from 250 down to 225. And if you're on if you're on a hospitality award at a casual rate, you'll be reduced down to 250. The restaurant award, if you're a full-time or part-time employee on that award, you now get reduced down to 225%. Casual stay at 250. There will be no changes to the public holiday rates in the club award. Retail award for public holiday full-time and part-time on level 1 will be reduced down to 225 and 250 for casual. And for fast food, the public holiday rates will be reduced down to 225 and 250 full-time, part-time, and casual respectively. And on the pharmacy award, it's the same. It'll be 225 and 250 for full-time, part-time, and casual workers respectively. So basically, 25% cuts there for everyone except for casual restaurant award workers and club award workers as well. March 19th, 2017. And like I mentioned earlier, I have no idea, but one of people's favourite moments of this show is when I go completely off the rails and start ranting about the topic of the day. This is my other quote-unquote favourite Dale rants of 2017. This is about a local cafe this time that is losing customers because their owner is gay. Wow, like, for saying something in the first... Well, there's so much to unpack here. But for saying something in the first place, that's the first big step here. Like, not even kidding. Like, that's... No, the old adage of knowing is half the battle. Saying something is literally the other half of the battle. So, congratulations, dude. If you ever hear this, like, well done on sharing it on social media and making people aware. I mean, awareness is definitely a problem still even in 2017, even on the 19th of March at 9:42 p.m. Like, it's still an issue, and it's still something that needs to be conquered. And it's, loud and proud. It doesn't matter anyway. So now there is the other side of the coin. Not the other side of the coin, but the side of this situation where it goes to the fact that it's not what I do, but it's kind of like, I'm going to apply this to my thinking, you know what I mean? And I do that a lot in these sort of situations. Now, it's quite obvious if you're looking at the YouTube video, I have pink earbuds in. I don't need to say that sentence. But apart from my pretty pink headphones, and it'd be the same thing though. It'd be the same thing if someone tunes in to GLS, although my sexuality doesn't really come up on GLS all that often. I mean, well, it comes up occasionally on GLS, but barely. Only in these sort of situations, and only when the same-sex marriage debacle that was last year came up. They're really the only two times that I can recall, and I do a lot of episodes, and I crank out a lot of content on a weekly basis, and I did for a period of time. But they're the only times that my sexuality comes up in conversation in terms of this context. Now, if someone was to turn around and email me, don't give that email out on. No, I suppose I could give that email out there. If you wanted to email me personally, yeah, sure. thechefwonder@gmail.com, thechefwonder@gmail.com, or genericliveshow@gmail.com is the show email. But see, that's the thing, though. If email in and go, if someone was to, back up this train. If someone was to email me, either personally, directly, at thechefwonder@gmail.com or genericliveshow@gmail.com, which is the show email, and say, I'm not listening to your podcast anymore because I realized, I don't know, I really don't know what this voice is. I realized that, we don't agree. And if someone did that to me, I would get offended. Actually, I would get offended, much like the cafe owner. I would get offended. I mean, it's hard, like to fathom the fact that in 2017 that people wouldn't don't like things for what they are, but they still read into them, whether it be a cup of coffee. You look at a cup of coffee and you shouldn't see gay in that coffee. Like, it's a coffee. The coffee itself doesn't have a sexual orientation. Wow. Did I just get fed that line? But I like that. I might use that a little later on. But that's true though. Like, it's very true. Like, coffee and food at a cafe doesn't have that emotional attachment because it's an item. Yes, it was crafted by someone who may be gay or a part of the LGBTQ community. That's a different aspect, and that is that person. And I completely don't agree with homophobic behavior. I don't agree with it, but I understand it, if that makes sense. Like, I understand where it comes from. I understand, again, I don't agree with it, but I understand where it comes from and where it stems from, and some of the concepts. That's fine. And if people want to have that conversation, by all means, I'm more than willing to have that conversation. I won't blow up in your face, and as long as you don't blow up in my face first, because if you send me troll emails and troll clips, then that's a whole nother kettle of fish. Wow, I had something else for this. I just looked at the time. I had something else for this segment as well, but wow, I'm glad I gave this its full time. But apart from that, so as I was saying, good on this cafe owner for spreading on social media. Like, I wouldn't know what to do. And like I said, and it's not, I'm assuming at this cafe, I've never been to this cafe, which I'm half interested now. I'm just saying. I'm half interested in going to this cafe and seeing what it's like. But apart from that, it's why... I have one question, and I'll end on this. One question. Why are people still, in 2017, still reading emotional attachment into objects? And again, don't hate me for the fact that, yes, I'm calling a coffee or a podcast that someone produces or a show that someone anchors and hosts and provides entertainment for you. I understand that there's a love of labour, and I love doing this, and the cafe owner loves making coffee. I'm sure I'm making that assumption. Otherwise, why would you be in the game if you didn't find a passion for it? But I understand that there is that emotional labour there. But why are people still reading it into that object? Laying it out on that object? Whew! Papa, don't preach much, right? Preach much, Dale? Wow. Why don't you get on... Why don't you do fanfare next time? Why don't you... Wow, that sounded preachy as all get out. July 2nd, 2017. And a term you heard a lot throughout the year was false news. False headlines. But this time, it hit a very, very personal note. And I don't think I can trust anyone ever again. I may not even be able to love again when I was delivered some false headlines of my own. Now, fake news is a huge thing, a huge topic area that's probably going to come up at the end of the year because it's been bandied around so many times this year, but this is definitely taking it too far. Apparently, there was an announcement of a nanny reboot, but I discovered today that it is fake news. I need clarification on this. genericliveshow@gmail.com. I don't care how you... I'll give out my phone number if people want to text me, and not they really could, because if you live in the States, it would cost you $1 million to text me. I just want to know if this is actually a thing. If there is a nanny reboot, because the nanny is brilliant. It's fantastic. It came out the year I was born. I should tell you how old I am. I don't know why I'm doing this annoying thing, but it has to stop. The nanny is just life, man. You don't mess with the nanny, man. You don't do it. You just... It's like playing with fire. You don't play with fire, man. It just doesn't happen. See, it's like, there you go. That's all we have time for, folks. But the pre-recorded specials continue with the biggest stories of 2017 and the 2018 prediction show with me and CJ Boat from the Geek.io podcast network coming up in the next 2 weeks, with live shows commencing again on the 28th of January 2018. In the meantime, if you want to contact the show, you can at genericliveshow@gmail.com, or hit us up on our Facebook page at facebook.com/genericliveshow. Or you can watch the archives over at youtube.com/genericliveshow, and you can help support the show by filling up your home with the best generic live show products out there by going to tinyurl.com/genericstore. Before we get out of here, we're going to play you some of the biggest WTF moments of 2017 for the Generic Live Show. I've been Dale Campbell, and this has been the Generic Live Show's greatest hits of 2017. Australia, your numbers are in. Beep 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 beep. Generic Live Show always putting a twist on current events. Yes, actually, if we were going on that, technically today would be Tuesday. So, yeah, no, Wednesday. Wednesday. Tuesday's my Friday, and if Monday was my Friday, I don't know. TGIF. No, 10 minutes on the internet talk about. Yeah, lady things. Hey! I would play some music of her, but then I'm afraid then I'll have to kick up some royalties for a bit of music, so instead of that I'm going to play this clip, because every time... Irrelevant arguments about freedom. Okay, let's not do that. I am being held hostage against my will, but no one wants to see me in bed. Wow, that is a very, very long way to go for a bad joke. So there you go. Generic Live Show, recorded in front of a live studio audience. It's a revolution. Hold on to your butts. Excuse me. Wow. Professional. Okay. Oh, hang on. Wow. Excuse me. Wow, okay, so... Before I pass out from whatever I'm suffering with today. The show is executive producer is Dale. No, are we doing this? Are we really? Okay. The show is produced by Dale Campbell, hosted by Dale Campbell. Consultants on the Generic Live Show, written and edited by this American Generic Live Show. This Australian Generic Live Show. See, I'm even revolted. I've even got vomit swirling around my mouth right now. When claims of health benefits accompany a choice, and fidget spinner don't believe the spin until it's actually been scientifically verified. Bruce Wiley, that is how you finish an article, sir. Why am I doing this routine? Why do I do half the stuff I do, by the way, Chubby? In the Generic Live Show with Dale and sometimes friends. It's the Dale and sometimes friends show. Oh, I was not the nanny. That's not. And it's a different set of knots, doodads, and things to twist and turn and move around.
But hang on, don't take my word. I'm Australian, so my taste buds might be different. I got one laugh out of that joke. One. Thank you, lady in the bag.
Not if I slap you with my right hand, and you really should let me win because this is my water buffalo voice. You really let me win because my parents just died, and I don't have much on in my life at the moment, and I just cannot slap you with my right hand. Do you know, see how I slap you with this right hand? Hi, my name is Water Buffalo, and I have a right hand.
This has been a Geek.io Media Network production. Copyright 2017.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.